We start with 1 hour chart. Okay. First of all, I refer to my last video when the price was within this range. We mentioned that we're looking for buy whether the price break this low or not, and if it break this low is better for us. And if as you can see, based on 1 hour chart, there was no trade set up. That means we couldn't get the trade. And based on 15-minute, also there was no trade set up. Okay. Beside that, even I mentioned if we get any trade set up, as long as the trade come to this level, we have to start to manage, because we are within this correction, and how deep it can go, we are not sure, and this is what we get. All right, that's why every time I mentioned that, I mean, whenever we get a trade where we have to start to manage, at least move our stop loss to break even if the traders doesn't want to take the profit. Okay, because when we are trading within the correction, until we confirm the correction, when is the correction is over, finished, we're going for the next impulse. That means any trade within the correction we have to manage properly. Okay. Similar to what we mentioned here, but by the way, there was no trade setup. When I'm talking about OSA, I mean, I'm talking that I'm telling that if there was a trade setup, we have to mention about this, because in my video I mentioned if we get a trade setup, when the price come to this level, we have to start to manage. And know what's the next, the price have broke the low, and what we can do here. First of all, right now there should be a trade setup based on 15-minute chart, but based on 1 hour chart we don't have any trade setup. And if I put my line here, okay, for me, if I want to trade based on 1 hour chart, if this one continues similar to what we have here, we cannot get it. I need to get the flat here correction, at least before I take the trade. Then if I get any correction here, if I get the trade, the price comes to the trend line, I start to manage it. Okay, what I mean by flat, at least we get one move down, 3 waves inside for the next move. Okay, rather than that, if we see not, if we're not getting the flat, then we can trade based on 15-minute chart. Okay, but based on 15-minute chart, we could get the trade from here, because we see this sharp move and correction. Having entry above this was a good idea with the stop loss below this. All right. And no, as we can see, based on 15-minute, also we cannot get trade for the next. That means if the price continues similar to what we draw here, we cannot get a trade. Okay, as I mentioned, based on 1 hour chart, we can expect one move down. The next trade, we see how we can trade it, and mostly with entry above this, which is we need the traders, they need to consider, do they want to risk for this range or not? Because the possibility the price come to this and reverse is there. If they can take the risk, they know how to manage, they can take the trade. If not, they shouldn't take the trade, because the best opportunity was here. Okay, now if you want to take the trade right now, we cannot. That means that we don't have any trade set up unless we get the correction here. How about if we get a bigger correction here? Let's start to get the correction for buy is better for us. And if the price continues similar to what we have here, we don't need to take the trade unless we see the breakout, we did get the correction, we look for buy. Okay, now how deep this one can go, we are not sure. Now we will explain reason daily chart, that forward chart, that this one can even retest this low or not. Okay, if I move to first, we started the daily chart, we have nothing. If we move to forward chart, okay, again, when we have been within this move, I mentioned that what we have here is a correction in relative to this, and we can get one move down similar to what we have here when the price reached to this level. Okay, we was within this range. This is what we get. And now we want to see how we're going to look at this correction. All right, if we zoom in, we can see the price have broke this top, the previous top. All right, okay, and what we have right now we consider as a running flat. All right, if we put this one and relative to this, but we should know that if this one haven't broke this one, then it was a contracting flat. But right now, since it's broke, we consider as a running flat. Now, We need to know that the running flat can turn to expanding flat. That means this one can continue and break this low as well. Even touch this low before we get the next move down. All right, that's why if you want to buy within this range, we should know how deep this one can go. We cannot jump into the trade in case running flat turn to the expanding flat. That means the price come here. We will have this with this. Okay, and what I mentioned right now is just additional information for those traders that are new with the flats. And if they want to identify the flat, then at least they know what I'm talking about. Okay, now we want to see how we can trade it. That's why if I move to 1 hour chart, I mentioned whenever we take the trade, as long as we are within the correction, we have to manage it. When the price was within this range, because I was expecting this when we put this one together. And right now, how deep this one can go, still we cannot confirm it. Okay, now how about the MACD? We don't have anything. And this one, nothing. That means even based on the indicators, I don't see any reversal point. Okay, and I don't want to say the price cannot continue from here. It can. That's why I mentioned if we want to trade, we need to get the trade set up, because how deep this one can go, we cannot confirm. Okay, anyway, no, we don't have any trade set up. The only thing is how we can trade this one. Just now I mentioned any trade when the price comes to this trend line, we have to start to manage, at least move over stop loss to break even. If it is moving, we keep the trade. If not, we take out the trade. And if this one move without giving the trade setup, we don't take it. Okay, until we can confirm this one. And if we see, if the next time the price drop, break this low, we see the divergence, then from there, maybe we try to jump into the trade. With any trade setup, we don't need to get a really proper trade setup, because when the price break this low, then almost we can expect the price to retest this low. Then within this range, any trade we can take it. Okay, by the way, we need to get the trade set up, but it can give us a better confidence for the trade. Okay, but right now still we cannot confirm how deep this one can go. By the way, we just follow the chart. If we see any trade here, then we take a trade and we consider as a short term. If it move, we keep. If not, we take out the trade. Anyway, if I see any changes, I will share on YouTube. Thanks.